I am a nobody. In front of them, the forest opened into a dark valley. Deep footprints, as big as a man's palm, were lost under the rocks. The Alaskan pack was there. And with it Goran. And the north, silent until then, held its breath. The snow covered the entire valley like an impenetrable layer of cold light, reflecting every sliver of sunlight that managed to pierce the heavy clouds. He was a place where time seemed to have stopped, where the world of humans ended before the packs began. Elias walked. Carefully, his every movement measured and silent, as if the earth itself was listening to him and allowing him to advance. The silence of the forest was profound, almost palpable, sprinkled only with the rustle of the wind that crept through the snow-laden branches and the creak of ice under his steps. The hidden valley was not a place to discover by chance. It was protected by black rocks and geothermal fissures that emanated steam, creating a constant fog effect, as if nature itself was breathing and watching. All around, old paw and claw prints dug into the ice indicated the presence of a large pack. But these prints were not ordinary. They did not belong to animals that people had ever known. They were larger, stronger, marked by an almost ritualistic discipline, like the signs of a presence that commanded respect even before it was seen. Elias felt a deep tension, an ancient vibration that penetrated his bones and made his heart beat with a rare, almost ceremonial rhythm. This was not fear, but recognition. He could feel the presence of the 𝕮𝖆𝖚 pack before they were visible, like a dense energy flowing through the air, hiding among the trees, behind the rocks, in the depths of the snow. Caleb, the ranger who accompanied him, and Daniel Brooks, the policeman, walked behind, eyes wide open and hands clenched on their weapons. They were not used to this silence charged with the promise of danger to them. Everything was an encounter with the absolute unknown. When Elias reached the edge of a clearing hidden among the rocks, the first visible sign of the pack appeared, a huge black wolf, with eyes the intense red of extinguished embers, stopped for a moment and stared at him. Its movement was fluid, but every muscle seemed tense, ready to react to any sound. Then two more wolves emerged from the shadow of the trees, and Elias felt the air around him change. This was no longer just the smell of snow and pine. It had been imbued with the smell of the wild, of power, and of discipline. From the rocks, the shadows slowly emerged and took shape in forms that walked straight, like men, but with raw, bony features, wearing scarred skin and the signs of the clan. A claw split in a circle. Elias knew instinctively that these wolf men were not just wild creatures, but a mixture of man and wolf, keepers of ancient traditions and cruel in their own way. Their sounds were mixtures of growls and words, a language that you felt before you understood it, and that conveyed authority, fear, and respect simultaneously. "Old blood, 𝖵𝖚𝖚𝖚, one of them said in a guttural voice, and the air seemed to vibrate with the meaning of those words. Elias felt every fiber of his being recognize what was being said, the connection to his ancestral clan, to the past he thought lost. Suddenly, a larger presence stepped forward. It was Goran. Larger than any of the wolf men surrounding him, his dark gray fur mixed with white stripes, a sign of an old, unaltered lineage. His features were familiar to Elias, like an echo of faces he knew from stories and memories. Ṭ'rock's hard jaw, Nuri's deep eyes. But they were devoid of light. In its place was only hunger and power, an energy that could dominate or protect, depending on its choice. The meeting was silent, but loaded with meaning. Elias raised his palm in a gesture of peace. Instinctively, wolves and werewolves hesitated, as if the universe itself was holding its breath. "I am not here for war," Elias said, his voice calm but deep, vibrating through the cold air. "Your drillings attract death. The forest is breaking. Go away." Low laughter echoed among the dark figures, but Elias did not move. There was an authority in him that neither hunger nor wildness could ignore. In that moment, it became clear that he was not just a man. He was a symbol, a bridge between man and wolf, between balance and dominance. Goran raised his hand in a sign that caused the pack to retreat slightly, like a black sea retreating before a storm. His eyes met Elias's, and there was no hatred in their gaze, but a tacit understanding. Both represented two kinds of power, one that protected, the other that dominated. The silhouettes of the wolf men disappeared among the rocks. The valley was left alone, with the echoes of howls and footsteps dissolving in the snow. Elias remained in the middle of the clearing, feeling the pulsation of the earth beneath his feet, an old energy that spoke to him of balance, connections, and responsibility. Caleb and Daniel watched him in awe. Their fear and respect were mixed, but they recognized in Elias what they could not fully understand. As the valley fell silent, Elias knew that the meeting had been more than a simple display of power. It had been a test, a measure of what could be, a symbol of peace between two worlds that had not met in generations. Every breath of the pack, every step in the snow, every stolen glance between Goran and Elias carried the promise that, though their world was broken, there was still a chance to rebuild connections and create balance.